Hello, my name is Rachel Stegman, and I'm making the case for GEDmatch. I want you to know that I'm not very technically inclined, so I apologize for I'm gonna have to shift my picture around and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm just gonna go forward. So I'm talking about the necessity of GEDmatch in your genealogical research. First, I will tell just a little bit of background about myself. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm a retired circus aerialist, master instructor, and founder owner of Circus School of Arizona and CSA Arts and Entertainment. Unfortunately, I had to close my businesses permanently during COVID. I'm the mother of and taxi driver for two young adults, my children, Zev and Ayla, ages 13 and 11. I'm an activist for social justice and environmental issues. And I'm a budding genetic genealogist. I'm also an avid recycler, and I enjoy upcycling decor. So first, what is GEDmatch and what it isn't? GEDmatch is not a DNA testing company, and it's not a family tree or document research site. Basically, it's a convergence of raw DNA data from multiple DNA testing sites where people can compare their DNA. It's also great for collaboration with dedicated and talented people. And in my opinion, it is unparalleled in its detailed DNA tools. So now I'm really getting into DNA Painter much more too. And they work great together. So that's awesome. And I will do videos in the future. I also will, let me go over to here. Okay, let me do this first. GEDmatch makes it easy to create an account and upload your raw DNA data from other testing sites. So you can download your raw DNA data from places like Ancestry DNA and 23andMe, and also from many other testing sites, which I'll show a picture of that as well. You create a free GEDmatch account and upload your raw DNA. Of note, once you have experience with the basic free membership, I highly recommend a tier 1 membership, which is currently at $10 a month. Believe me, it is worth it. GEDmatch, again, does not provide DNA testing, and there's a free and a paid membership. And start with the free and then move on when you gain more skill gain more skills in GEDmatch is my recommendation. Okay, so here GEDmatch provides the opportunity to compare DNA results and collaborate with genealogy enthusiasts who have tested with other sites. Here are some of the sites, or might be all of the sites, I'm not sure, that you can upload your DNA, download your DNA tests from these companies and upload them into GEDmatch. And also noteworthy, there you can upload GEDCOM family tree files to GEDmatch so that it's easier for people to be able to look to see if they can figure out how you might be connected. Now, being able to compare your DNA to others from other sites, not just within the confines of each site's databases, has huge benefits. GEDmatch has many ancestry projects, mostly run by people with more experience and specific objectives. And of course, these projects include more enthusiastic, knowledgeable participants from multiple DNA testing sites. Plus, you can conduct queries using GEDmatch's advanced DNA tools between all of the members in the projects. So you can see these are, since I've made this presentation, I have added a lot more. So I was already a part of many groups, and I've added a lot more since then. But I'm an administrator of a couple groups in here and just a member of the others. And I'm kind of repeating here about they have people that tend to be involved in GEDmatch, at least maybe the probability or the percentage of people that are on there. tend to be more readily available for collaboration and have more talent and skills, though of course you have beginners in there, of course, you always do. The best part of GEDmatch, other than the GEDmatch Community Ancestors projects, is the in-depth tools it provides. I wish I could share all of them in detail in this presentation, but there are way too many. I will show some examples and pictures. Here is a beginner's overview of the free tools. I will also be, in the future, I plan to do more videos getting into each of the tools separately. And I will also note that even though I have a good amount of experience, I'm not an expert in by any means. And yeah, so anyways, I'll just talk about the important overall benefits. Matches and shared matches with a much lower centimorgan threshold. And actually, I think I was incorrect here. There are some tools, I know I'm incorrect. There's some tools that go down to 1 centimorgan. I don't use it that low too much, but some people feel it's important to them. So it does not have timber, which is something that I cannot explain to you because I don't fully get it myself, but this is something that Ancestry uses, and there can be matches missing that you actually have. It also, you can use other DNA kits, whether you are a match or not. So if you have somebody's GEDmatch kit number, you can still see who they're related to and run tests by them, even if you're not matching, as long as you have that person's GEDmatch kit number. And you're able to see matching segments and finding triangulation groups. So here are some of the tools, the free tools. And of course, it's not all of them, but I'm just touching on the various ones. Some I have much more experience with than others. So are your parents related? 1-to-1 autosomal, match both or one of two, add mixture heritage with many subtools, 3D chromosome browser with many ways to query the information as well, and 1-to-many. So I'm going to go through each of these, very rudimentary. Okay, are your parents related? So you can actually do like a picture kind of view as well. I only did the numbers and the chart view. So this to the left is showing an example of somebody whose parents are probably not related within recent generations. If you see in the bottom, this analysis indicates that your parents are probably not related within recent generations. There still can be some relation there, but the centimorgans aren't high enough to be considered recent. Now, on the right here was an unfortunate circumstance that the woman I found out that her biological mother and father were very closely related, were pretty closely related, I should say. And it was, an event that was an unfortunate situation. So, and we were able to find who the father was. So here is 1-to-1 autosomal. So this is where you compare 2 GEDmatch kits, and you can see where the number of chromosome, and there's also more of a visual one as well, but this is the chart. It's hard to fit everything in on a page, but showing the different chromosomes down on the first column. So that's chromosome 1, 2, 4 of them on 2, 3, 5, 13, 17, and 19. It shows the segment, the starting points and the ending positions, and it shows the units of measurement with DNA, the number of centimorgans that people have in common. Of course, the higher the centimorgans and the higher number of segments with higher centimorgans, the closer you are related. I'm not going to go into SNPs or segment threshold or bunch limit or SMP density ratio. And that's partly because I need more work in those areas and on really understanding them. but this is more for beginners just to get you guys interested in doing GEDmatch. And I'm always learning and I have a lot more to learn. So this is showing, it says the largest segment, 21.9 centimorgans. So if you look at the centimorgans on column on the chart, you'll see that the biggest segment is 21.9. And the smallest looks like it's 7.5 centimorgans on chromosome 2. And then it adds up, all these centimorgan segments together, and it ends up being 118.8. And then it has the estimated number of generations to the most recent common ancestor, which in this case is 3.5. But with situations of endogamy, which is communities of people who for many, many years have stuck to themselves and married within the community and had children within the community, such as Jewish ancestry. And so this can be misleading because 3.5 generations is not where we're connected. And that is because, so it's, you can't take that by face value, because some of these segments can be from different lines. So in this case, we share 4 different, I think all 4 of my lines. So all 4 of my grandparents, this woman connects with. So some of these segments can be from, each of these segments could be from different people, from different common ancestors on different lines of mine and different lines of hers. So it makes it pretty complicated. But so they can be 6 cousins via one of my grandparents, 8 cousins versus via another grandparents, 5 via another. And so that's why it doesn't quite know how to calculate that because of the endogamy. Match both or one of 2. So this is one where you take 2 kits and you try to find, and you find the people that you both match. And you can always adjust in all of these tools, you can adjust the minimum amount of centimorgans and the maximum amount of centimorgans. So here I have a woman named Lisa, who's that same a distant cousin on many lines compared with me. And we're looking at where it's blacked out a bunch of people that match both of us. And Lisa is the first one listed. So it's going to show her highest matches to her lowest matches in common with me. And if you want to, so sometimes if the list is really long, I like to switch them out and put the other kit, which is QQ is me, and put the other kit first so that I see the closest matches between the 2 of us with the highest centimorgans listed first through on my side. So and it shows you the total centimorgans shared, the largest centimorgan segment, and the generation difference, which again, I wanted to express that this can be off because of endogamy. Now, in this case, with the 3,572.1, those are correct with these first 2 under QQ because that's my mom and a super kit of me. So it's a combined kit with my DNA results from Ancestry and 23andMe. So I'm going to go on. Okay, this is admixture heritage, and there's many, many tools in this and many different queries you can do. So I'm just showing one here, and this is DODCAD Rule 9. And basically it's showing your ethnicity, your ethnic background, where it's represented in each of your chromosomes. So this is chromosome 1 through chromosome 22, and it does not include the gender one. because that's a different type of chromosome. But each of these, so the one on the left is chromosome 1, the one on the far right is 22. They tend to go they're longest to shortest, though, I'm not sure why 21 and 22, the 21 appears to be shorter than the 22. So that's something that I'm not real familiar with. So here's the key, and various projects, or not project, but various subtools within admixture heritage, you can query the information differently. So like in this case, it's American Indian, East Asian, African, Atlantic, Baltic, and it has these colors. So it shows the color key. So in this case, the ones that are showing the most are Atlantic, Baltic, African, I guess, well, the red shows up a lot. So American Indian, and there's Southern Europe is one of them. And Caucasus Idrosia is the dark green. So it shows the different places within each chromosome that ethnicity is showing up. Okay, so this is a 3D chromosome browser. Now there's also many different variations within each of these tools, including the 3D chromosome browser. 3D chromosome browser, I wanted to include it, but it's not one of my stronger ones. I need to do more work on this one. But let me just give you one example here. So this is the case that if you look on the second table, you'll see PD is son of the world, ZA is Willis, AR is Linda. And then it has, of course, the same ones going across. So basically, son of the world and Willis share 8 centimorgans, excuse me. And son of the world and Linda share 17.9 centimorgans. And it shows you a key at the top, the color key. So 3 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, and so on. So I do admit this one I need more work on. Okay, let me move my picture again. This one is one to many. And you take your kit and you put it in the top there, and then you can change settings if you like. And it's basically showing in order of closest matches to furthest matches. And so I have a long list, but I only did one screenshot. And you can also, limit, you can take out the people who are closest to you by reducing the maximum centimorgans. The other thing here to note is if you see in the far left column, those boxes, it's kind of a teaser for the free accounts, because with the paid version, you can check those, but you can't check them in the free account. And then you can submit them for further analysis. So that's another one of the advantages of the paid. I haven't gone over all the advantages, but that's one of them. So it's a great tool. So yes, it says select all, but you can't do that in the free version. Okay, next. Okay, this feature is very useful. It is often unknown by even seasoned GEDmatchers, I've found. No need to memorize your kit numbers, or, well, I still put them in a sticky note or in a document. But you don't need to memorize your kit numbers to give to people, and no need to ask others to give you their kit numbers. So most people don't have all their kit numbers memorized, because a lot of people manage a whole bunch of kits. So instead of doing that, all you need to give the person is the email address that's associated with your kit numbers. You can also see, if you go in and you have somebody's GEDmatch kit numbers, you can go in, you can only fill in one field at a time. You can put their DNA kit number in. And I wish there was a more direct way, but there isn't. So you put their kit number in, and then it will show their email address. And then copy their email address, go back, paste the email address into this query again, and take out the GEDmatch number because you can't have more than one field at a time. And then once you have the email address and you do the display results, you'll see all of the kits that they manage. So that's a really helpful tool because instead of asking someone for the GEDmatch number, you can ask them for their email address associated with the GEDmatch numbers. And that information is readily available on the site if you put in the GEDmatch kit number, so people shouldn't have to feel worried about that. Well, not feel worried about that, but I mean, it's already there. The information's already there. Okay, so now you've learned a little bit about what GEDmatch has to offer, but this is just the beginning. Once you join and have time to practice the individual tools, which I've only shown you a smidge of the capabilities of these tools, then you can learn how to use them all in conjunction with each other, as well as with other genealogical sites tools. And don't forget, you haven't even learned about the Tier 1 membership tools. And I love the Tier 1 tier membership tools. That's the paid version, such as segment search, phasing, triangulation, multiple kit analysis, Lazarus, excuse me, my evil twin, auto cluster endogamy, most recent common ancestor from DNA matches, surname matches from DNA matches, and much more. Now, I just want to note that I don't get paid for this. I'm not a salesperson for GEDmatch, but I should be. As much as I love it, as much as I promote it, I think it's a very important tool for people to use for genealogy. And I'm always happy to help people with it as well. Okay, so now one of the things that is great about GEDmatch is the triangulations and triangulation groups. Triangulations occur when 3 or more people have DNA segments that overlap on the same chromosome. So they must be on the same chromosome and overlapping in the same section of that chromosome. So meaning that person A must overlap with person C, must overlap with person B, must overlap with person A. So this is something for another presentation perhaps, but this is showing basically, I thought these were good diagrams to use, where each of the one in the middle is a bunch of people and they have, everybody matches or shares a common overlapping segment with each other. And then this other one is kind of different that I also found this diagram that I thought, or image that I thought would help portray that each one of these outside connecting ones where it connects multiple times is showing how like some people will have certain segments that correlate with everybody else and then not share other segments, and then other segments they correlate with as well and not others. So I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but I'd have to explain that further and help visualize it in a future video. Okay, so this is an example of a 3-person triangulation, and this is the graphics only. I mentioned before that there was visuals, and this is what the visuals look like. So this is a situation where there's a 3-person triangulation. You can see person 1 and 2 together, person 1 and 3 together, and person 2 and 3 together. So they all match each other, or not necessarily match, but overlap segments. And so basically the overlapping part is where the green line is to the red line. So that's the part that's the triangulated part with everybody. So different people can have different starting points and ending points. And sometimes you can have multiple people in a triangulation group where the ending points or the starting points are for some people, do not match with others, but they're still basically part of the triangulation group because it doesn't overlap with certain people, but it overlaps with majority of the people. So there are cases where that's the case. I call them the fringe people, the people that match, overlap with other people, but not everybody, because the starting points and ending points are different, if that makes sense. This is the same thing that I just showed, but this is the 3-person triangulation group with the same people, but it's showing the chart instead of the diagram. So it's showing that it's chromosome 16, which the other one showed as well, and the starting points and ending points and the centimorgans. Now, I used to use the picture, the graphic one a lot, or I use them together because you can query them where it shows both together. Now I tend to use the positions, the data only. All right, now how triangulations are useful. And I will do a separate whole video on that as well in the future. You find you're able so with triangulations, especially like triangulation groups, are wonderful because you know that you all share a common ancestor with these multiple DNA matches. So it helps with direction and researching other matches trees. So kind of where you can kind of figure out where you have an idea of which lines in lots of cases, which lines of their tree it correlates to that triangulation group. You create larger groups of people with potentially more enthusiastic collaboration and more people to collaborate with. Opportunity to profile the shared ancestor. And what I mean by that is you can figure out by these triangulation groups and where the overlapping segments are, you can figure out the ethnicity of that common ancestor, which is awesome, especially more so if you have somebody who you have people that are multi-ethnic. So it's much easier for that with things like Jewish, full Jewish people who are 100% Jewish, or in some of and various other communities that are also endogamous. That doesn't help so much as far as pinpointing the common ancestor ethnicity. It doesn't really help. Okay, so now we are on to, this is something that I created for people, and there's other ways to do it, but for people to do triangulation with the free version, and it shows there's so many steps, and there's other ways to do it too that actually I recently learned about, but this is like one of the ways, and it's very tedious compared to when you have the tier 1 tools that make it really easy. But it is actually, I feel, a good thing when you're first learning because it helps you understand triangulations better. So you want to use the one-to-one ensemble first, identify 2 DNA matches who you are researching, and find and take notes of the largest segments in common on specific chromosomes. Then you can match both or one of 2 and find DNA matches in common to both people with high centimorgans. Now that doesn't mean that they match you on the same lines, that they match with the same lines. So it doesn't mean it's a triangulated group. So then you need to compare each match to both of your research subjects, looking for matching segments within the same chromosome, or I should say overlapping. Then check your work, double check that person 1, person 2, and person 3 or more or others all have overlapping segments within the same chromosome. And step 5, using a new pair of people, utilize the match both or one of 2 tools to find more high centimorgan matches. And then step 3 and repeat. So there's a good amount of work involved, and the free tool really helps eliminate that. So, and again, here I said learning to do it by hand is actually kind of a good thing because it helps you understand it more. But then I totally recommend getting the tier 1 tools. Now, here's an example I mentioned before of being able to figure out a common ancestor between two people or more, what ethnicity they are. So this again works better, like for instance, a situation where I have a big group of people triangulating and some of them only have like 1 to 5% of African DNA, and then others are have like 85% African DNA, and others are totally mixed. So if you start to go through the different people together, you will end up being able to figure out the ethnicity of the person in common. So in this case, this first person obviously has a lot of Atlantic Baltic and African. And then this second person is very much a lot of African on that. And this is on this particular segment within a chromosome. So you have to take the starting point where they're overlapping, the starting point and the ending point, which I show in green line and red line. And so this kind of shows there's the second person, there's Southern European, but that's it. And the rest of it is all African. So that's kind of, you can kind of see that right away. The bottom row is showing the areas that they do not have. The black is where they do not share that ethnicity in those areas, but they do share that ethnicity between the top two in the parts that aren't blacked out, which happens to be, if you look in the key to the left, I did a bad job of circling that, I see, the brown is African in this case. So my afterwords. Genealogy takes lots of persistence and dedication. It's a meticulous process. DNA helps you direct where your traditional paper trail research should be focused, I should have said. GEDmatch, along with other sites such as DNA Painter, which I mentioned before, which I'm getting more proficient at and loving it. I use it in combination with GEDmatch, and it's awesome. Can help you make tremendous strides in finding, strengthening, and disproving your genealogical hypotheses and theories. And I feel very strongly that the more people who upload their DNA to these sites, the more we all can accomplish together. The GEDmatch free membership is fantastic, but the Tier 1 membership saves you valuable time and effort in your research. And like I said, I'm not a salesperson for them, but I should be. And this is the end, come to the end. Thank you for your time and interest. I will be doing some more videos on a little more detail. And as I learn more and more, I will share that with you. But I thought this was a good way just to get an overview of how important I feel GEDmatch is and why you should join GEDmatch. And here's my contact information. And I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, and feel free to contact me, text me, and if you want to do a meetup on Zoom or would like me to show you around a little bit or help you get onto GEDmatch. And that is it for today. So thank you very much.